Welcome to the Genius Talk podcast. I'm your host Atul Raj from the bestemailmarketer.com, and today we have Jeff Standridge with us. Jeff, welcome to the podcast.
Great to be here, Atul. I appreciate you for having me.
Awesome. So, for our listeners who don't know you, can you tell them who you are and what do you do?
Sure. I am based in the United States. We were just talking about that a few moments ago in the very heart of America, so to speak, in a state called Arkansas. And I am an entrepreneurial support consultant. I work with entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs. And I do that through an organization called Startup Junkie Conductor, which is funded by third-party sources, mostly government sources like the state of Arkansas and the U.S. Small Business Administration. And then we have a sister company called Innovation Junkie, where I actually do direct billable consulting with larger companies in the areas of strategic growth, organizational transformation, innovation, strategy, and disciplines like that.
Okay, can you talk about the size of the company that you consult?
Sure. Most of the companies on the funded side, they range from idea stage companies up to about $5 million of annual revenue. For the Innovation Junkie billable consulting firm, the companies we work with there, they range from anywhere from $10 or $12 million to $250 million in US dollars, of course.
Great. So, I'm curious, okay? So, you have a new best-selling book, Grit
Mhm.
and Grace. So, what inspired you to write that?
Great question. So early in my career, I was in healthcare. I was trained as a paramedic and a respiratory therapist. I worked on a helicopter team for a children's hospital, and then became a professor at the state university medical school. And I began to observe the differences between successful people in healthcare and top 1% of performers, or top performers versus average performers. And I decided to pursue a doctoral degree in transformational leadership based upon some of those observations, and began studying academically the differences in top performers and average performers, and ended up moving into a technology company, a publicly traded technology company, and doing research for them as well. And then over the course of the next 25 years, was able to continue making observations and conducting more applied research across 5 continents, multiple countries around the world. And finally, just over the last couple of years, I got the opportunity to sit down and write about not just that academic research, but also about my experience and my observations in looking at the differences between high performing people in the world and average performing people. And it really comes down to the degree to which they walk the tightrope, if you will, or they balance this concept of grit, which is the drive for results, and grace, which is the pursuit of sustainable relationships. So I call it this drive for results, this results orientation versus the relationship elements, or mental toughness and mental resilience balanced with emotional intelligence, so to speak.
Okay. Then I guess almost every business owner, especially readers, should read this one.
They should. Every business owner should. Every individual should, in my opinion, because the way I describe it is, if we focus on grit, or just the drive for results, at the expense of grace or the pursuit of sustainable relationships, we will experience wild success very quickly, but it'll be very short-lived success, because we end up alienating those around us who are responsible for helping us maintain those results. If we focus on grace, or emotional intelligence, and the pursuit of sustainable relationships at the expense of delivering results, people will love us for a period of time until they lose respect for us because we can't deliver results. And so there's this constant battle, if you will. Grit may win the battle, but it seldom wins the war, so to speak.
Yeah.
Grace may keep the peace, but it seldom drives meaningful and lasting results. And so there's this constant conflict, if you will, between grit and grace. And most of us have a tendency toward one or the other. My tendency is toward grit. I've had to learn through wisdom, some failures, and some gray hairs. I've had to learn the wisdom of building sustainable relationships as well. And so that's kind of the overall concept of the book, Grit and Grace.
Okay, so when businesses, I mean the leaders, reach out to you for help, like what are the problems they are commonly facing?
Sure. Most of the problems that they're facing when leaders reach out to me is they are trying to build sustainable growth in their company. They're trying to innovate. They're trying to grow their revenues and their profits. They're trying to grow their client base. They're maybe they've been in business for a period of time and they're experiencing a number of market forces, competitive forces that are forcing them to transform how they do business, and so they need to innovate and transform their business model. So those are generally the challenges that they come to me with. And then I engage in a diagnostic of their business and help them identify. Sometimes I find that it's a business model issue. Other times I find that it is a lack of organizational effectiveness. Many times I find that there's just a leadership ineffectiveness. And I need to help them improve the effectiveness of the organization with the effectiveness of the leadership.
Okay, okay. Wait a sec. Can you repeat the first one?
Which one did I say first? The market forces that are keeping them from being successful.
No, different one.
Well, let me just back up. So many times I find that there is an ineffectiveness of the organization,
Mhm.
or there's a problem with their business model.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So this is a personal question. Okay, so I also talk with a lot of business owners, and I also consult them. And many times I see that they have a business structure problem. Like everything is a mess. Okay, so business is not designed to scale,
That's right.
and I have to say them. I cannot help them. Okay, because it's really tough to change every single thing.
Mhm.
So how those business should operate? Like what should they do?
Yeah, so I have many companies who come to me and they've hit a ceiling, if you will, and they can't scale. And so I actually conduct a diagnostic called the Growth DX. GrowthDX.ai is where the Growth DX is located. They complete the assessment and it assesses their capabilities across 7 different diagnostic domains. And that helps me pinpoint the areas where they're having the greatest difficulty. And I help them put measures in place to address those. So many times it requires stepping back and re engineering how the company operates.
Yeah. Okay. You're also an investor, right?
I am an investor for sure.
Okay, so when you look for companies to invest, like what kind of companies that you see and decide, okay, I will not going to invest in these companies.
So I am not. So first of all, there are some industries that I generally stay away from. I am generally not a retail type of investor, or an investor that's going to invest in a retail or consumer packaged goods business. So generally, there's technology. It can be financial technology, healthcare technology, AI driven companies, defense technology are some of the areas where I tend to focus. But I step back and look at, okay, what's the market that they're in? And is the market big enough to sustain a very large company? Number two, is the business problem that they're solving, does it affect enough people to actually make a demonstrative impact? And would those people pay enough to have a solution such that there would be a profitable ongoing company, right? I look at the traction that they have in the market today. So I look at the market, I look at the problem they're solving, I look at their traction in the market. Do they already have revenue today? I like to see $1 million of annualized revenue as the baseline. Anything above that is actually much better, of course. And then I look at the management team, and I put a lot of emphasis on the leadership of the company. And would I want to spend time with those individuals? And then finally, do I think I can help them? If I don't think I can help them scale or grow or get clients or form new partnerships or what have you, I'm probably not going to invest in the company.
Yeah. Okay, so as a managing director of Innovation Junkie, what's the biggest misconception entrepreneurs have about scaling their business?
Well, I think the biggest conception is that their idea is an idea that people will buy. So I see, about 40% of startup companies fail because no one wants their product or service, or probably better stated, not enough people will buy it at the price point required for it to be a profitable ongoing business. And so I'm very strong on entrepreneurs who are willing to do the customer discovery before they invest a lot of time, effort, and money in building a company or a business that no one wants. So to test their assumptions, validate their assumptions, recognizing that their idea is just that, it's an idea, and only about 15% of the success of a business is based upon the idea. 85% is based upon can they execute the idea and will people actually buy the solution that comes from the idea.
Yeah. You just remind me of something because every time we launch a product, or me or my JV partner, or any of my clients, we do the same thing. First, we determine that is it worth building the product. So we do a pre-launch. You know what pre-launch is?
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah. So we do pre-launch every time, and depending on the demand, we decide are we going to create the product or not. So if you have a like high demand, then we create it. If low demand, we just skip this idea.
Yep. Yep. That's a way to go about customer discovery. Completely agree with you there.
Yeah. So can you share a recent case study that you have created?
A case study. Well, so there are, I've not written up any case studies, but I can share a few examples with you of companies that I've worked with. So I helped a software firm, financial technology software firm, raise their first $1 million back in about 10 years ago. I I serve on the board of that company today. And so over the years of being able to move from a non scalable custom software shop to actually building a product that served the need of the financial services industry, predominantly community banks here in the US, that needs that weren't being served by the large players, the large financial operating technology companies. This company was able to build a product that met those needs that were not being served by the larger players and form partnerships with those larger players to be able to have an adjacent or a bolt-on piece of technology that they could bring to their clients. When I first invested in that company and started working with them, they had just sold their ninth bank, and now they're in virtually every state in the United States, all 50 states, serving several hundred banks today.
That's great. Okay,
Similar
so
similar kinds of experience with the number of healthcare organizations that I've worked with as well.
okay,
That's what.
share it. I would love to hear.
Well, so we have a large portion of our geography of our state is comprised of very rural areas, non-urban areas. So we only have a couple of metropolitan areas in our particular state. We have our capital city and the suburbs around that capital city, probably very small number of people, call it 1 million people. We have another metropolitan area up in the northwest that's comprised of maybe a 500,000 people. So and compared to your urban areas, it's no comparison. You have 20 million in many geographies. So our state is only comprised of about 3 million people. Half of them live in these two urban areas. The remaining 50% live out in very, very small villages and cities around. And so we have a very difficult time serving them from a healthcare perspective because of the lack of broadband internet technology, because of the just the lack of resources there. So I've worked with a number of rural healthcare organizations to be able to transform their care in those rural areas in order to take advantage of the technologies that they do have at their disposal in order to massively grow the services, the number of clients, the number of patients that they're able to serve in order to drastically improve the quality of healthcare to our rural residents.
Okay, so I'm curious to know. Okay, so you are a grandfather. Okay, so how are you performing at a higher level? How are you a high performer at this age?
At this age, I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
First of all, is what I call. Somebody asked me the other day, "What motivates you?" And the way I described it is, first of all, I have an intrinsic or an internal motivation to be excellent in every area of my life: my faith, my family, my friendships, my finances, my fitness. It just so happens they all begin with F. But all of those areas of life, financially, right? All of those areas of my life, I have an intrinsic or an internal motivation to be excellent in every single one of those areas. Secondly, um, I am externally motivated by a compelling vision of a future that doesn't exist today. So, a future for what I want my family to look like in the next 5 years, what I want my business to look like in the next 5 years, what I want my personal fitness to look like in the next 5 years, or what have you. And so, that compelling vision of the future, coupled with my intrinsic desire to be excellent in every area of my life, creates a force multiplier that not only gives me clarity and focus, it also helps me to execute at a very, very high level.
I
And
think,
also, if I follow those same principles, that also enables me to motivate my team as it relates to my businesses as well,
yeah. So by team, like how can we motivate our team? Like, I know that we cannot motivate them just by money. So
right?
how should we do that?
Well, so let's just think about that, right?
Yeah.
Number one, we have to tap into what are the intrinsic motivators that they have. My intrinsic motivators are to be excellent at every area of my life. Some people in my business have different motivators. And as an executive, as their leader, I need to understand what those are. That's number one. Number two, I need to create a compelling vision for the future for our business and our team together. What can we accomplish in the future, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the road, that seems almost unachievable today? It's achievable, but it seems almost
Mhm.
unachievable. But it's something that could be very, very exciting. And then how do I help my employees, my team members, connect their intrinsic motivators to that compelling vision of the future? And when I can help them make that connection between what motivates them and how helping move the business forward will motivate them and will satisfy their motivations as well, then we've created something very, very special in motivating them. Sometimes people's motivation is money. Sometimes people's motivation is impacting the future in a very positive way. Sometimes people's motivation is more driven by their home life, their work life balance, their home life, their family, and what have you. Sometimes their motivation is by doing good in the world. So if I can help them make a connection between their work and how it serves as a platform for them to fulfill their intrinsic motivation. So, for instance, I had a lady who worked for me at one time. She was a salesperson, and and her motivator was money. She was motivated by money, but it wasn't because she was trying to be rich. It was because her daughter played what we call travel softball. So softball, like baseball, but basically the rules of baseball. And her
Mhm.
daughter played this sport. And she played on a team that would travel around the region playing other teams. And her hope and desire was that her daughter could win a scholarship, an athletic scholarship, to take her to university
Mhm.
in the future to be able to play softball. And oh, by the way, every time they went away for the weekend to play softball at these regional tournaments, it was
Mhm.
very expensive. And so her motivation was money, not because she's trying to get rich and drive a new car and be in the nicest house, but because she wanted to fund her daughter's dream of becoming a university softball player.
Yeah. Now I need to really think about my team.
Yeah. And not just think about them. Ask them.
Yeah.
What
Okay.
what motivates you? What motivates you? And what do you like about your job? What do you dislike about your job? What is it about your job that helps you fulfill your desires outside of your job? And just have a dialogue with them about that, and you'll learn a lot about what motivates them and how they see their job relative to their life and their career.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay, so looking back when you started, what's one lesson that you tell yourself if you have to restart today?
To surround myself with people who will give me feedback
Okay.
and to seek that feedback very.
Okay, so is there anything else that you would like to share?
No, I think that's it. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. So seek that feedback out on a daily basis.
Okay, I don't know why, but I think like I just read that quote today.
Was that right?
Yeah.
Wow. We're thinking
So
on the same wavelength.
Yeah, we are. Okay, so for our listeners who want to know more about you and want to connect with you or want to buy your book, where can they go?
Well, the book is available on Amazon, or that's the easiest place to find it. And they can also find me on LinkedIn, Jeff D. Standridge, and they can find me at innovationjunkie.com.
Awesome, Jam. It was really great chatting with you, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
Awesome, brother.